Welcome to the Create Today podcast. This show is all about how you can create the life that you love one day at a time. And today, my badass bitches guests today are Kristen Crowley and Jill Bunny. They are a lot of things, but they are the co-founders of Reframe Your Brand. And they teach all of us how to grow our business on social media. We're going to cover that. We're going to cover all kinds of tools and strategies on how you can get out of your own way and grow your business. My favorite thing when I met them, what they said, we're like, I have a lot of favorite things. First of all, seriously, your name's Karen?
In a room full of 200 people.
Yes. I was like, so they asked questions and answers, and I was like, so if your name's Karen, should you change your name?
Seriously, is it Karen?
Is it really? Yep. She's like, seriously?
And you own it.
I'm like, well, yeah.
Yeah.
Mom's old school.
You joke about it.
My mom's 81. Yeah. So Karen was like, that was a long time ago.
It's a good name. We love it.
Thanks. Oh yeah, I always forget that part. I'm your host, Karen Stanley, which I always forget to do that part.
Oh, Karen.
Oh, Karen. Stop being a Karen. I know. But you said if you're not making a profit, then you don't have a business, you have a hobby. And I was like, oh, snap. You're so right. So where should we start? You know, we're starting a business, you have a business, it's not as profitable as you want it to be. Let's dig in. Where do we start? How do we help these women grow their businesses?
So I would say, first of all, we have to understand what's the reason for it. Why do we want to do a business? What's the reason for it, right? Is it revenue or is it for impact? Is it volunteer? And once we get a clear understanding of the reason why, is it full revenue so we can leave our other business? What's it for? So as soon as we understand the reason why, then we can actually create a clearer path. But a lot of us don't even actually understand why we're actually wanting to do it in the first place.
Right.
Yeah.
Or we're seeing social media, someone else is doing it. Look at the freedom they have. Ooh, it'd be really nice to have passive income and run a business, which is a bullshit lie.
Passive.
Right? There's no income that's passive.
It looks great, looks incredible online, but there's a lot of work involved, and a lot of people just don't understand that aspect.
How much work?
Ooh.
Yeah. I think we've become disillusioned as a society because of social media. I mean, it has its great things. Obviously, we work in it. We love it. And if you're using it right, excuse me, it is the right tool. But for a lot of people, I think, like, again, you see everybody's doing successful. Everybody's doing this. Everybody's doing that. Oh, I can do it. It's so easy. And it's this kind of like brainwashing of this MLM style coaching that we always kind of preach against, because a business is a business. Regardless of how you're building it, what you're doing, or what your product or service is, you're still have to go through the same proprietary process that any business does to build. And if you don't understand those parts, then no, you're not going to be successful, and you're going to wonder why it failed. But the sad part is a lot of these people telling people to go ahead and just dive in and do this. And, you know, we advise all the time, do not leave your job until you're ready, if that's the right situation for you. But you may be a person who does need to leave and dive in. It's all subjective. So I think it's just a lot of misinformation that's been out there, and we're very anti all of that, because we don't like the bullshit we see every day. I mean, it's just basically what we're dealing with. So building a business for everyone is a business if you treat it as such. And we always say, you are your brand is your business. And if you don't start treating it like a business, you will fail.
Yeah. It'll be a hobby. I was like, oh, snap. If somebody is like, I think there's a lot of things. First of all, we think it looks easy. Because of social media, they're like, just take a picture and I'll have 2 million followers and everybody will pay me to do ads for them, right?
Depends on the picture.
We were just talking about that. If we didn't have any morals, we could have made so much money.
When in doubt, when things start going wrong, just start taking off clothes.
And I'm keeping it.
Slowly but surely, you might get like, we that is advice I gave Jill, but we'll talk about that later.
If you want to keep your clothes on,
yes.
Preferably, we don't want to make money that way. Where do you start? What if some businesses, they've been kind of posting some things here and there, they get 2 likes and they want to quit? Where do we start?
First, strategy.
Yeah.
Right? And everybody goes into, when I ask, so what's your strategy? What's the reason why, for example, you're on Instagram?
Right.
It will be very different if you're on LinkedIn, if you're on Facebook.
Right.
Right? So you first have to understand what's your reason for being on there? What do you want to be known for? Who are you actually attracting? And then what are those customers wanting to look at on that specific platform? That will determine your strategy. Then you would determine your tactics. And everybody talks about tactics thinking that strategy as in I'll post 3 times a day or 3 times a week. So we first have to go back, do the boring foundations, understand what the strategy is going to be, because it's going to suck at certain times when things don't go right. You're going to blame the stupid algorithm for whatever reason. And then you think, well, this isn't working. I'm going to change gears. But actually, maybe it was right. You just didn't take long enough. But if you have a strategy, you're actually going to be in a better situation.
Yeah. How long do you think is long enough to kind of, if you have a strategy and you really plan it out and you are doing what you're saying you're doing?
You want to know the honest opinion?
Yeah.
A full season, which is a year.
A whole year.
Yeah, unless
Just
it's like kibosh, absolute garbage that it wasn't right from the beginning.
Yeah.
But we've got to give it the time that's required.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think people,
so
they jump to, we all want a fast fix. You want it to happen like right now. Our other analogy we always use is you would not build your penthouse before you built the foundation of the building. So why are you trying to get to this, whatever the figure may be, whether it's numbers or status or whatever you're looking for? And you also have to remember that not so long ago, there were, and there still are, a ton of successful people who didn't use social media to build a business.
Exactly.
So you have to think like this is just a tool. It is not your success. Like that is not your only route. And if you're not diversified, and also your tolerance, like how much are you going to tolerate not getting paid or putting out money in the beginning?
Right.
Because everybody has a different tolerance, a different, background,
different budget
work, family situation.
Time.
We're all individual. Yeah, time is huge. So, you have to go into it saying, okay, for the first year, no, I'm not going to make any money. And then for the second year, maybe I'll make enough to cover my bills. Or for the third year, what is your growth strategy? Because in any plan, you usually do have a 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, 10-year plan. So I think a lot of people are jumping in thinking it's easy. Oh, I'll just put all my shit online. And all of a sudden I'm going to have all these clients and I'm having these $10,000 months, whatever they think that their number is. But that only happens in the initial part because it's exciting and it's new. But how do you retain? How do you keep? And that's consistency, creating a solid message on social media and sticking with it. Even if you're not looking popular analytics wise, and we call it the vanity metrics because it just feeds our ego, it doesn't help anybody else.
Totally.
No one freaking cares.
Nobody
like they
cares.
don't. But if you're consistent, you become trustworthy. And when you're trustworthy, they buy from you and then they refer to you. So no, it's not all shiny and pretty. And sometimes the boring shit works. And that's the part that we try and go back to is basics. And we've done it. We've grown. We had a plan of how we were going to grow. We agreed on it in the beginning, which as partners, you have to know that. And we had a tolerance to say,
absolutely,
we don't have to make the money right away. We have other businesses. So this is a venture and we're going to build it the right way. And we're not going to take shortcuts and we're not going to escalate to this crazy spot because we wouldn't have been able to handle it. We would have pissed people off.
Yeah.
They
would have ruined our brand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and people do that.
If you actually grow too fast, it's not good.
Yeah, you're just taking it all off right away to get the attention, and then all of a sudden, oh shit, you got to put your clothes back on, and people have to still pay attention to you type things. There's a lot of the ways people behave that way to get attention, and business is not that. There's a difference between, again, getting attention and getting actual marketing, marketing that turns into
revenue.
Profit.
Right.
So that's what you want. So yeah, strategy is huge, and everybody's different.
Yep.
So where do you start? That's where we started. But then, okay, you have your strategy and then we are posting consistently and we don't say we do it for a year. We see some growth. We do see some growth of followers, but maybe we don't see the revenue.
Yeah.
Then where do you go? So then what would be the problem? Where do you look at? How do you
So this is
know what to
probably
change?
one of the secret sauces that most people actually just won't do, and that's why I'll share it. Right? Because most people will not do it. That you literally take out your phone in a spreadsheet on Google, you write every name down, you go into your emails, you go into Facebook, you go into Instagram, you literally could have 5,000 people. And every day you take 5 and you basically just do one response. Maybe it's a follow, maybe it's a very good comment back. That was so valuable. I listened to that podcast, and you give something of concrete nature that you actually care. Go on to the next, go on to the next. Look for their response. Actually write all this down. Second response, third response. Give.
Deposit.
Because as soon as we get that feeling of I don't know what to do, we post for reactive. So every time we want to go on there and scroll, we go back to Google Drive instead. I'm going to pick that next person. I'm going to go. Because the problem is most people will find a lead and then they just pester them until someone says yes or no. But if you take that long-term approach and say, instead, I'm going to go to my 5, and then I'm going to go to my next 5, and then I'll kind of respond back. You have 5,000 leads. How can you not make a sale with that? But no one's going to do it. They'll do it for 3 days and then they'll stop. But you just do it over months and months.
I am so guilty of that. Yeah. You know, just like I will go and I give deposits, and then I won't for 5 days. Yeah. I'm so guilty of that.
Yeah.
5 a day.
Being consistent, I mean.
But that's her strategy. That is strategy.
And that's all like direct messaging, offline. It's not all the vanity stuff that you see. It's behind the scenes. And that's showing genuine care. And we're not worried about that first 5. It's like, I'm going to the next 5, I'm going to respond back.
Just going to keep doing it.
It works because the other people are douches. They'll follow you, like 6 things, and then hit you in the DMs asking for something. God. But there's a long-term approach. And this is why I'm telling it, because you will be successful if you do this, unless you say, okay, you know what? I have a very, very big budget for advertising and I'm after volume, bringing in leads. If you're not, then you're going to have to put in the time.
You have to. It's
so
time
do
or
this.
money.
And I guarantee
one or the other, right?
Guarantee you'll be successful, but 99% of people listening to this won't do it.
No, they won't. Yeah. And they want to do these big asks like, oh, I want you to give me all this money. But again, it's generic. It's not personalized. We don't feel like they're paying attention. I just had it. Actually, I didn't even play it for you yet. I have to play it for you.
Oh, no.
I have a message that I got from someone that I know, and we've been friends for a long time, but the message itself was generic. It didn't have my name. It was like, hey, you're so important to me. And, you know, I'm only sending this to 5 people. So I'll play it for you because you're going to laugh your ass off. But then asked for $5,000 to go towards a new business. There was nothing personal in that message to me.
Now, she recorded one message and sent it to multiple
and it said,
people.
But I'm only sending this to 6 people,
That's
so
not
please
true.
respond by tomorrow. So there are things that, again, if you're going to be genuine, be genuine.
Yeah.
If you're going to be disingenuous, go ahead and stick to that then, and just go for lower ticket items because, you know, well, people are expensive. Like, don't ask for thousands of dollars without either, you know, like we always say, don't go to second base before first base. Like, no one wants you to shove their tongue in your throat without, like, at least having dinner first. Yeah. And it's really sad. Like, we just
a cocktail first.
I know, at least a cocktail. I mean, come on, at least one martini. Maybe we'll get there faster. I don't know. But it's definitely, that's the way people think, is because they see these people that are just saying, here's this formula that works online to sell. And it's not, because these people, one, have never sold in a real business. They learned from another weekend person who learned it in a weekend and said, here's my formula. If you do this, again, if you post three times a week, and we use different strategies for each client. Like, everybody's, you know, will be like, you only need to post 3 times. You need to be posting every day. You need to do, you know, more engagement on the backside. But the bottom line for it's networking and getting in front of people. And everybody's post-pandemic, like, you know, the events are back, get in person, get in front of people, because the human connection part still isn't lost. And with everything being so oversaturated, you have to break through that barrier somehow.
Right.
So if you don't, you know, have the balls to sit there and actually talk to someone in person, why would they work with you? Yep. I mean, that part drives me crazy too. So,
well, and I think that we all know when somebody's
disingenuine,
only hitting you up for an ask. You don't even, I don't even know this person. Whatever it is. Like, we get it all the time. I'm sure you guys get it all the time. Like you just said, like I could see the likes and I'm like, oh, it's the same person 10 times. And I'm just, let me just see the DM.
Check
I can't wait. Can't wait to see what your offer is. It's like, why? Why are people still doing that?
Yeah.
I don't even, that doesn't give me that's not anything. You have no value.
Yeah.
So don't do that. So how do we know? I mean, if somebody doesn't know, like if somebody's like really doesn't know and they get fooled, how do they not get fooled by these fake coaches and these fake gurus and the MLMs you talk? I mean, like what are, just in case there's somebody who just doesn't know, like when they're first starting out.
It feels too good to be true. If
it
feels so good, you're like, okay, I'm going to be skeptical.
Yeah.
I would, again, ask for references, call them, call them. And not just to hear, like Google is important. So getting on Google My Business, having reviews on there, that's legitimate.
Read them.
Like that is really important. And then with Google reviews, because it is authenticated with a person, you can actually reply to them too.
Yeah,
so it's just doing your due diligence, right? And far too many of us don't, and we just fall victim because, you know, it sucks. Like maybe we're not doing well, so we're being reactionary and thinking this person's going to save us and our business. But no coach is going to make you the revenue. You've got to do it yourself and get supported. But we have to do the work behind the scenes and ask the right questions. And that was one of the biggest mistakes I've made with business coaches. Of course I have. I didn't ask the right questions. And because of that, I made some costly mistakes, but also I learned a lot in that process of who I wouldn't hire in the future, how I wouldn't run business. So it was all well worth it. And what I see half the time is coaches get so mad that, we're jaded, didn't really work out. I'm like, well, that's too bad because that person won. Because now you're not actually moving forward and you're going to continue to suck ass because you're not going to go and invest in another coach and say, you know what, that wasn't right. But I know what I don't want, but I'm going to go again. Right? And that's the problem.
Not the entire coaching industry. It just was that one person.
Correct. It's just dating. Like guys, we have to go through some rotten eggs to find the right one. Just like coaching, you're going to find some shit ass coaches.
Totally.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And everybody's not a perfect fit for each other. Like you have to, like she said, due diligence is huge. Anybody that talks to us, we're 100% like, okay, literally pick a person tagged in any photo of the history of our account and call them. Yeah. Send them a message, DM them, please.
Please
We're encouraging you to do that because, again, even though we may be good at what we do, we may not be a fit for you, but you're not going to know that unless you talk to other people and get a feel for how things work. So whenever now we're like, there's the process is formulate your list of questions, formulate what your goals are, where you're at, and where you want to be. And if that person doesn't ask you any of those questions, they're probably full of shit because those are integral to creating a strategy and a plan to build out anything, branding or business, to get you to that next level. So if they're not asking all those core questions of who you are, then they are just going to feed you a cookie cutter program and be like, okay, all you got to do is X, Y, and Z. And, for some people, like doing a podcast like this, that's not going to do anything for them. Right. It doesn't fit their brand or their personality. Right. So if someone's not asking you those questions and you just give them your money, that's your fault. Like, it's not their fault. Right. It's not the coach's fault. Right. Like, you didn't do the research.
And then, like, you can blame them for the rest of your life. And just be jaded and then be a victim. And then that's really going to help you a lot.
Yeah. Well, the victim mentality.
Oh, my God.
Like, oh, no, they did this to me. They made me fail. No, nobody makes you fail.
Nope. It's just like dating. That guy was an asshole, so I'm just going to stay single for the rest of my life. Like, okay. Yeah. You can if you want.
You can.
Go for it.
They're like, I'll do everything on my own. And that's where they get stuck. All right. Or they feel so jaded that they'll do everything on their own, which we know won't work. Or then they will go and ask their friends or their family members that don't run businesses. And it's the fucking worst advice ever.
It's terrible.
And I don't understand why we keep going to people that we love and support and we feel trusted, but they have no experience or education to be able to do that. And most of them won't take risks. Right. So my parents are both teachers. I used to ask them for advice. And then I wouldn't like the advice I got because play safe.
Wonder why.
And then I thought, okay, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't ask for advice. And then even after it was, you know what? I'm not going to share everything about my business because
they don't get it.
Or it's just confusing. I'm like, you know what? I need to find a new network of people that can support me in my business and not expect my parents to be everything or my husband to be everything. You need to do all this. I'm like, you're my husband and I love you, but you're not in my business. And that's okay.
What's the game show where you phone a friend? What's the name? I forgot the name of that game show.
Lifeline.
Lifeline. Like you have your lifeline?
I can't remember.
So in your head, if that, who would you call that person? What would you call them for? Yeah. If it was my dad, I'd call him about, sports or volleyball stuff. If it was my mom, I'd call her about real estate or horses. Know what they're good at. So make that mental checklist before, would you phone them if there was $1 million on the line and they had to answer this question for you?
Right.
Probably
it would
not.
be different people.
You might not.
Depends on the question.
It depends. Yeah. So
you would call different people for each question.
So, and the same thing, like you already alluded to it, is being afraid to bring in the right people to help you because you don't want to spend money or you don't want to do, risk things. I mean, you waste so much time and money doing that. And, it's hard to swallow that pill sometimes but if you're going to spend 10, 20 grand on someone helping you, but then you refuse to hire someone to help you with your finances or help with, video and audio or social media, Where is that? Like, how does that make sense? Because you're never going to build a store and say, okay, I'm going to open the whole store. The outside looks great, but there's no fixtures, no cash register, and no product inside. You know you're going to fail. So you have to think about it as a big picture and long-term goals.
And it's a business. It's not personal, right? So most people are like, it's my money. I'm like, it's your business's money.
Right.
Business. We have to invest.
Gonna have to invest some money.
Correct.
Disassociate kind of.
There's no way to not. There's no way to get around. You're gonna have to invest money. That's why they have seed money. That's why they have Kickstarters. That's why.
Correct.
You have to have money to start.
Yeah. And some people, I mean, you're going through a burn rate every month of, you know, a lot of
whatever
people
it is,
spending a ton of money.
Yeah.
Because they know they have to get to that next part. And granted, are there things that you don't need to spend money on? Yes. Like flashy, you know, we talk to people all the time. It depends on what the product is, but you don't have to go dump tens of thousands of dollars on websites and logos and those things. You don't. So what's actually going to make you money or help you grow, invest in that. And again, it's the non-sexy work that we call it all the time. It's not sexy. It's not cool. Like it's not the fun stuff that makes you feel good at first, but down the line, it's integral to actually having a fucking
And that's
business.
what we see all the time because obviously we do photos and video.
Yeah.
So you'd think that we would take anybody and everybody, and we don't.
No.
And the reason being, half the time, they're not ready to even take a photo or video because they don't even know who they're marketing to.
Got it.
So what happens is we don't want to just take somebody's money. We're taking photos where we're like, I don't even know who we're shooting for. Confusion for us, confusion for the consumers. Not great for our brand when they're not getting the proper results. So we'll sit back and say, you need to do this stuff first. And then all that fun stuff of photos and videos, making content, makes sense because we know who we're talking to.
Yeah.
Far too many people will go broad before they're actually ready to. Like you're not an Alex Hermosi. You can't go broad. You got to go niched in.
Yeah.
And most
One
people
at a
get
time.
so afraid.
One line. Yeah.
You're so afraid to do that because I'm missing out on certain people. Well, I'm sorry. If you're so gray and boring, you're going to miss out on everybody.
Yeah. And it's not about the photo.
No.
The photo is the tool to get your message across, right?
Exactly.
I was just thinking how funny that's paralyzed. This whole thing. It's what comes down to moral authority. Find somebody who has done what you want to do. Like, for instance, if you were to start a therapy business, you may want to hire Jill Bunny because she has an established, like a successful therapy business. Obviously, she's my coach. She's awesome. And
I paid her to say that.
Because
Sliding money over.
but it's obviously the perfect fit. You know, it's like you don't if you're starting a clothing store, you don't want to go ask your dad who's never had a business before. He's just not going to know. I was just laughing because when I got certified as a therapist, my dad's never even acknowledged it. Never said anything. Never asked me about it. Doesn't even acknowledge it at all. He's like, Karen, can you call Uncle Joe and try to get the journal of my sister? I'm like, okay, good to see you, Dad.
Thanks, Dad, for understanding.
No concept, no interest.
No.
Hilarious.
Yeah,
so
and your family,
he
doesn't understand.
No, he's in the Air Force. He doesn't know how to run a business.
No. So don't ask
we have almost zero business owners in our family. We have a couple, but not very many.
Yeah.
So it's like asking your friend who's, been divorced 4 times for relationship advice. No.
Probably not.
Find someone who's done whatever it is that you want to accomplish and then only get advice from them.
And the hardest thing, what we were talking about earlier with that is you're going to get advice that you don't like.
Oh, yeah.
Right? But it's helpful when you sit back and you're saying, okay, I'm not going to take this personally because this is business. Very different.
Yeah.
But as therapists too, I see it all the time. And the reason why they're taking it personally is because they got shit in their personal life that they haven't dealt with and will always transform, come into the business. And then that's where you see them give up. I'm afraid I can't do this. And it's like, well, actually, it's not that you can't do this. It's just that something else happened personally. And you're kind of bringing that in and saying, okay, well, since that happened in my personal life, that's going to happen in my business. Yeah. Right. So consciously that can happen.
And people don't think that it will. They're like, oh, no, it's fine. My whole home life is a complete train wreck.
But I can run a business
But I'm
successfully.
going to ignore that, and I'm going to start a brand new business that'll fix everything.
There's very few people on the planet who can compartmentalize like that. My husband is one of them.
Yeah, because he's trained to be.
He can compartmentalize everything because, he can
He has to.
Yeah, so, I mean, but unless you're a person who's capable of that, everything's going to bleed
Only
over.
Navy SEAls can do that.
Yeah. Everybody
Unless
else
you're a Navy SEAL, then you can't.
You're not gonna compartmentalize.
There's no way.
Because it will affect you somehow, some way.
I can't. I already know.
And I have Jill every day, so I have my built-in therapist. I'm like, hey, how you doing? I need a drink. Just talk to me for 5 minutes.
I'm gonna have a martini, and you're gonna talk me off the cliff.
Yeah,
I'll get one too.
We're gonna count this as a business call. Like, pretend we're talking about the business.
Yes.
I need you to help me with
This is
something.
a business expense.
But you have to find. But again, and that also comes with finding the right people, because when you do find your right crew, and the people who are, even if they're not in the same business, they're adjacent or they're in the same position as you.
Yeah.
The support is next level. Like, I always felt very outside of things until we met. Like, literally, I had no idea what I was going to do. Like, I had no clue what my business was going to be, because I thought it was going to be, just because I was in PR and media, that I was just going to parlay that into working for myself and teaching women how to do it for themselves.
Yeah.
That was the goal. I kept putting it off. And I mean, it was halfway through that year, that I was doing a mastermind, and I'm going to do it. And I left my old station job, and I was like, okay, I have a few months. I'm going to take them off. We met 2 months after that.
Yeah.
2 months after you quit?
After
you
I
left
quit
journalism?
No,
wow.
We met, that was
didn't know
August. We met in October. And then literally our business was formed not even 3 months later.
Yeah. Wow.
And we shifted it to kind of brand image development like that, because it combined all of our superpower. But it also, I was excited about that. It drove me, it gave me purpose. Whereas what I was coming up, all these ideas I never did a damn thing with it. So sometimes when you are stagnant, you have to have the right people around you to push you and push you past where you're comfortable and that you can do it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I would have never taken the risks or the ventures we've done if we didn't push each other that hard. I wouldn't have done it, because I could have, been at home with my kids, and that's easier. I mean, I could have probably just stayed in the area and done things, but I knew I wanted to do more. And I think all of us know that deep down, you want to do more, because you want to serve people, you want to do something. And we just, but you have to find the right people to bring it out of you. And if you do not get into those circles, which sometimes, I mean, you have to level up the people that you're around.
Absolutely.
It does. And it sucks. Sometimes you have to leave people behind. And we've had to do that. And it's not easy. But again, now we understand it's a business.
Yep.
It has to operate based on numbers, performance, and what we're going to do and what works best for our lives.
Yep.
And once you reach that, it's kind of the I don't give a fuck mentality. Once you stop worrying about
your
that,
feelings.
Yeah, fuck your feelings.
It's business.
It's business. Yeah.
It's my favorite saying ever.
Fuck your feelings. And it's really once you get past that, it's so much easier to grow at that point. And then you will see the growth. So if you're stagnant or you're feeling like you're not getting somewhere, sometimes, you just need to find the damn people around you that will make
and you have to take
there.
action. You have to be intentional about it, but you have to take actions.
Yep.
I find what I think is one of the hardest things for people to do is to let those people go.
Yeah.
The ones that are holding them back and the ones that don't want you to change. Why is that so hard? If somebody's who's listening right now, they've got some people, in their lives, they've been forever, or maybe their family doesn't want them to grow, or their friends, their best friend for 30 years doesn't want them to change. Yeah. How can you mentally say it's going to be okay? I want to level up in my life, and
it's hard. I always say it's a grieving process too, because we don't want to be just assholes and say I've leveled up and you're shit. It's well, it's hard for them because they're grieving that person that you once were, and they loved that person. So then when you change, we have to actually take a step back and say, I've changed as a person, and that's hard for them.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I can either sit back and go back. So I always say it's a 1.0 and 2.0, and you're in the gap. So maybe you don't know all the people in your 2.0, so you feel lonely. Then you're kind of past your 1.0, so you feel lonely. The gap is lonely, but you have a choice. You can either go to 2.0 and find those people that are going to push you, or you can retreat back and then feel safe with those people and comfort them. But when we look at that and do that, you're helping 5, 6, 10 people, and you're fucking over thousands. So that's where you look at it and you say, okay, I need to level up. It doesn't mean that we say bye, mom and dad, but like some people we will literally turf out of our life because they're toxic.
Yes.
But other people we say, you know what, you're my brother and that's who you are, but you're not everything. And we choose the time that we spend with them.
Yeah.
And then that's what we do. And it might be limited. Good. And that's okay. It's just we can't kick everybody out of our lives, but we have to understand what value they bring in. And sometimes it's comfort. Sometimes it's safety. And we need that as business owners for someone to be like, okay, I'm just hanging out like in my sweatpants with my friends and having a good time. And then I'm going to go into a boardroom and close a 6-figure deal the next day. They might not know about that. And that's okay because that makes them feel less than. So sometimes it's a chameleon and you are a different person depending on who you're with.
Yeah. Well, I think entrepreneurship is lonely most of the time.
Yeah.
Unless you actively seek, you actively go to these events, find friends, create relationships. You're like, I hate that word networking. Yeah. It's find relationships. You're creating relationships and friendships, you know, so and that
podcasts just like this.
Just like this.
That's
how we met.
Conversation.
Women in Business. It's like I met so many amazing women. I freaking loved it. Love Emily Frisella. And but you have to make the investment. It's not free. And you got to get your ass over there and you got to I'm going to invest this time and money and
I always say as soon as you do level up more than a day and you continue to level up, you will not fail ever. It's just when we retreat back because it's like a weird feeling to be in a different space. Yeah. But once we do that once and you can sit back and be like, hey, I did level up and it was scary and look at everything that happened and you go again and again. And I always say when you're stagnant and you get comfortable, that's when shit's going wrong. And it's a cycle. We'll all go through it. It will happen.
Yes.
But it's catching it and saying, okay, you know what? I got to level up. Like this is not how my company is going to run in 3 to 5 years. Because if we continue to stay stagnant, bye. Yeah. Because another business is going to come along and swoop in because they're constantly being innovative by still sticking to foundations. But we have to innovate. We have to.
How do you not get distracted and spend your whole life on Instagram? Asking for a friend.
Asking for a friend. Totally not me. Kind of me. God. Yeah, it's me.
Obviously I use it for my business. I have clients I do their marketing for. Obviously you have to use it as a tool. How do you do that? Like literally I find myself, it's been 30 minutes. I'm like, fuck.
I didn't change anything. So
no, I didn't do anything. It's for scroll.
Schedules for that. So you do yours first.
You schedule it in? What do you do?
I schedule it in now. I'll batch. So now I'm kind of learning the video game, but I will batch everything. And I used to not do that, but it ate a lot of time. And now I'm very strategic when it comes to that. Yeah. And I also don't scroll. I have no idea what anybody's doing unless they tag me. And that's what I say. I have no idea what's going on, but that's just my choice. And is it the right choice? It's the right choice for me. For you. Because I know that I give better value to my clients when I speak to them, when I'm emailing or conversations versus scrolling. That's just me. And my clients know that. I say, listen, I'm not going to see your posts because I need our one-to-one time and talk and strategize what's our next step. I'm not going to like your shit. If I do, I just happen to be on there and awesome. But don't expect that because do you want to go get a friend to like your shit. I'm your coach. And I'm there to strategize, not to be your cheerleader. So that's me. I'm a little cutthroat with it, but I want them to be better.
I'm offended.
Good. Let's talk about that later.
Jot that down on the side. Jot it down.
One of your issues.
Yeah, bitch. I know.
Well, that's your problem right there.
There you go. There's your issue. There's your issue. We discovered it all in this 1 hour.
Let's just have therapy on live.
It's all therapy. It's all therapy.
Well, it is.
It is. So my schedule is different from hers because I am, and again, I've been in media forever. So for me to do stuff is easy. Like video for me is easy. I can do one take, I'm done. 5 it's seconds, good. So for that side of it, but again, I've done it for 18 plus years. Yeah. So we talked about the analogy, we told you about it before. Like Michael Phelps did not become the best swimmer by swimming 10 minutes a day. He's, and the same thing. I added together all of my on-air hours, and I think it was like 12,000 something hours. So that meant that, for someone to do that, they would have to work, 4 to 5 hours a day for the next 12 years to get the same amount of experience I have.
Yeah, it's the time spent.
So of course it's easier for me. So that shifts how I am online because I can do things faster. So I can post faster. I know how to do those, like I can edit faster. I do those things because I did it as a job.
Yeah.
So don't expect that you're going to jump in there and be like, oh, I'm going to put
amazing
2 things
on camera
in like, in CapCut and I've got like, shit done. No, you don't, because you don't really understand everything else that's going along with that post or whatever's supposed to be happening.
Right.
So my routine is I get up in the morning, I do my social media in the morning. So I sit there, I post everything I want to post while I'm drinking my coffee. That's my cathartic, gluttonous social media time. So I scroll.
But you have to post. You're doing it for business too.
I'm also weird. I can't have any notifications showing on my phone ever. Nothing can be read. So I have to read everything has to be cleared all the time.
So everybody tag
So everybody tag me and I'll be neurotic for the next week. It'll be great.
Definitely.
I'll be 3 margaritas in by the time I'm getting through it. But so I do it in the morning, I get it done. And then when I go to work out, that's when I watch stories and keep up on what other people are doing. So when I do my brainless, list cardio kind of crap, I'll sit there and put it up and I just let them run. And sometimes I even time it. I have to stay on until the stories are done. So it gives me
long stories.
Yeah. So
make
now that they're 90 seconds a piece, y'all are screwing me on the cardio because I fucking hate cardio, but I will sit there and watch your damn stories because I care about you. But I try, or I show that I care about you. May not be listening, but that just depends on the day of what we're dealing with. But I'll go through.
We're helping her with cardio.
We are very we're the same person in the sense of how we see things, moral, how we treat, all of that. But again,
same
one of
values.
us very right brain, very left brain. I'm do the creative and I'm shiny object in a lot of ways. And Jill is very analytic and this is structure. She likes that side of it. But when it comes to events, I'm the structure. I'm the time one. So we have tendencies of each other, but we balance each other out with that. So that's my social media time for the day. And then I check it usually once an hour. I have 0 notifications on my phone.
Yeah, I turned them off too.
Everything has been turned off because back when media has changed a lot in the last, 2 decades. So towards the end of my media career, it was required that we were on social media 24/7. And they actually have a program that tracks every journalist in every city and pits them against each other on performance. And every morning after, you see how you rank in your city.
God.
So I was against about 100 some people in media in my area in Virginia. And I would rank number 3 or 4 every fucking day. Drove myself to the brink of why I left my job. I mean, I was so overcommitted and stressed, and I was never not on. I was on every second of every day. I had to go to the grocery store and have makeup on because people would want to talk, and I felt I had to be that way all the time. So social media for me became very, very detrimental to my actual physical health. I developed cancerous tumor, it actually hurt my health. God. So when I stopped all of it and I said, I'm not going to care about this, I'm not going to do it, and I'm going to do, again, what we talk about, I am very organic. I write organically. I don't like to pre-plan a lot of things when it comes to social media. So I'm the organic, just whatever, because again, I can do it quickly. And my other big tip that I always do to save time is for posts, I always use speak to text. So I very rarely type a post unless I'm around other people and I'm trying to be quiet.
Yeah.
But I will talk it out and I'll talk the whole post and then I'll just go back in and put my breaks in the text because it sounds more authentic. Again, typing all of that could take 5 minutes. Saying it is going to take you 30 seconds to a minute.
Yeah.
So you're already cutting out a few minutes. And when it comes to overall usage of online media all week, those minutes count. And if you can get back 5 minutes a day, you have a half hour at the end of the week that you did not sit there doing something that wasn't productive. So it's just tiny stuff. And so I do it that way. That's kind of my MO. And then I, obviously I engage in a lot. And I've had a friend, actually, Tara, always my friend gets on me. She's like, how do you know what's going on with everyone still all the time? Or how do you see all these people all the time? I'm like, I make time for it.
Yeah.
I like to connect with people. I like to talk to my friends and I like to see what they're doing. And I want to look genuinely interested when I run into a client and I say, oh my gosh, your kid did this at soccer the other day. That's awesome. So I spend more time on that as far as, but again, with business development, we have different roles. So you have to know what your role is and what your tolerance level is. So I am that person.
Yeah, you need it.
Yeah, and I need that. Like I need fuel from other people that feeds my energy.
Yes.
And I've always operated that way. Jill can sit in a room by herself for the day and she's happy.
I love it.
So I'm like, I need music, I need stimulation, I need humans, I gotta touch people. Like I'm just, probably that crazy aunt that's at the party. And Jill can be the more reserved on that side of it. But
just like, I can go to bed.
You have to balance. And I don't want to miss anything. I'm like, it's like Christmas Eve all the time for me because I just want to be in things. So
my friends are
it depends. It all comes down to how are you going to use your social media and is it conducive to your mental health?
Yeah.
Or not. And
figuring out what works for you.
You have to. And you have to do it.
I'm like that. And I've been trapped into worrying about it. What am I going to post? Oh my gosh, I didn't put what time. Oh, I got to write it. It's got to be perfect. And it makes me crazy.
Yeah.
But if I just do it organically and I'm like, this is a thought. Okay, I'm going to have that.
Yeah.
But also, you can also hire somebody to help you make a strategy, make a plan, and get your shit, like we're going to do this weekend. We're going to get a whole library so that I don't have to stress about it. I don't have to constantly go, what do I say? What do I say? And people get so tired.
At the end of the day, it's giving value to the customers that are on or potential customers that are on your feed. Yeah. Right? So it's not always about us when it comes to business. It's about the service of others. So how can we best do that?
Yeah.
Right.
And if that's not your intention, then what are you doing? Look at me.
Well, that's what it is.
No one gives a shit.
Narcissism in that sense.
Exactly.
But, and kids now, I mean, my daughter has her Snapchat and the Be Real and all the apps. And they don't communicate anymore. And I do think that, again, if you're not keeping up on top of trends as a business, depending on your demographic. So who you that's why we say we do an MVP client. So we do it as most valuable payer, not most valuable player. So it's people who will actually purchase from you. Yeah. So we don't really give a shit about anybody else. And trust me, niching down, you're going to attract more than that crowd anyways, because we talk primarily 99% to women in business, and we have several male clients, and it's funny and they're very alpha male type clients.
That's hilarious.
It just, but they can still, regardless if your message is clear and consistent, they can see you're doing a good job at what you do. So you don't have to market to everybody. So once you get through that, the MVP, then you know why you're showing up and what you're supposed to be saying. And again, you don't want to serve all those people. So I just think it definitely, like honing in on your message, you're not going to see the results as far as the front end of your social media. You should see it in your bank account.
There we go.
So the social media part, I mean, it's great. She knows I purged my account when I left television because it was people following me. It was a bunch of old horny white dudes trying to get in my DMs. I mean, I'm like, I don't want to talk to you. They want you to send them feet pics. It's a weird situation. And
if I had a nickel for every...
my messages are very entertaining. Like, if we could dive into
very insecure now because no one's ever DM'd me asking me to see my feet.
Oh, man.
That's going to happen after this podcast.
Now, if I'm getting all the DMs to light me up, we need to light up Karen's with feet pic requests. But you have to know, like, I took thousands and thousands of people off my account. And has it grown since then in 4 years? Nope.
And
hasn't grown at all. It's grown like 100 people.
And your business has
grown?
But
my business has grown every year, doubled every year. It's not that number. Like we're not focusing on the right shit.
Stop it.
Yeah.
What did you call vanity?
Vanity metrics.
It's just vanity.
Yeah.
Oh, I got 18. Ooh, 500. Ooh, whatever it is.
What I was going to say about the evolution of social media is most of these kids are not communicating in a verbal way. So it is photo and video. And they are, they're doing 2 second, like it's a second snippet. And they do the same thing. If you go to a restaurant, like try this out next time and see any table with someone who is between the ages of 12 and 18, watch several times because you're going to see their phone and they're going to go like this.
Of course.
And they're only doing half their face.
I know.
Don't know why.
I don't
half
either.
the face. And that's the rule for Snapchat.
Why are you doing
no
that?
one says anything. They don't say where they're at. They're just sending each other face. There's like 30 pictures of parts of their face. And it is the weirdest shit. And I'm like, you guys,
weirdest shit.
I don't understand what you're even doing. It's like some language that we haven't as adults figured out, apparently. It's some secret language.
It's wild.
But they're getting immediate like little interactions or like, dopamine hits from these people texting them back. So it's the response that they're waiting for. It's not the content. It's not what it looks like because they look like crap. Like they're taking these weird pictures. They never
look good. Like, did you send that to somebody? Yeah. That's horrible.
But so if you take that don't care. And see how they're reacting when you're forming your media, when we get down the line, 10 years from now, if our demographic shifts, they just want a response. So how can you be faster at responding and being there? Because that's where you're going to lose the game, I think, coming up in the future of social media. It's not that they want value, they want information, education or entertainment, that's it. And behaviors, you can see how you behave on social media. What are you scrolling past? What are you looking at? It's pretty easy to figure that stuff out. And then I think that, again, we talk about bots and AI, like having responses or using tools that give instant response. I think for that generation is going to be more beneficial for like business, I guess, strategy. But they just want the actual attention. And that's really hard to get someone once they've had that for most of their life to say, oh, seriously? No, or you got to go the other way. So, it's hard on social media to understand that. But I think as any business owner, you need to understand the behaviors and you have to narrow down who you are speaking to because that is going to 100% determine how you are showing up and what you're doing and where you need to spend your time. And then that helps with time blocking, scheduling, all the things. And then it makes your life easier.
Yes.
It's that easy, everybody. It's that easy.
It's a cinch.
Just like that.
60 seconds a day, you'll be a millionaire.
Please don't say we did not say that.
We did not say that.
We did not condone that. That's going to have a big red X over the screen.
Yes, yes. I'll put. Did you get that, David? You
big red X.
Big red X out of that.
Right there. Nope. Like, it is not our quote. We are not promising anything.
Oh my God. Okay, I know you guys have to go. I don't take any more of your time, but we did want to talk about AI. Like, what's the most important thing to know about it? How do you use it? Do we use it? What is it for? I don't know. Just before we wrap up, I know we wanted
Chris
to talk about that.
More about
what
that
is the deal? Is it helping? I've used it a couple times.
I tried it a few times. Chris is really good with it. I think as businesses, we get afraid of anything new.
Yeah.
Right. And then it's scary to have to try to learn something and it makes us feel like we're stupid. So what's the easiest thing? Oh my God, that's the dumbest thing. Why would anybody want to use it? So I laugh when I hear that because it's just like, you're out of the game now. It's something new. It's a tool and how you choose to use it. Right. And I always say people like, will I be out of business? I'm like, well, you might not be out of business, but somebody in business is going to take you out because they're just able to create more content. It's be able to give you more ideas. At the end of the day, it is a tool. You still have to know how to use it. Right. So you can see people that use it and it's shit. I'm like, you suck at AI. Like, I don't even know what you're even doing.
Yeah.
Right. So it's understanding it. But if you don't, you're out. So this is where when anything's new, we've got to at least understand that from a business perspective because we're not going to go back. AI is here. It's not going to go away. It's just going to get more and more and more in depth. For myself, do I use it? I've used it a few times. I think I'm like the way my brain is, so I like to come up with my own stuff. But I also know that AI can take over a lot of things, which is why I started doing video. And Chris is incredible in helping with that. That was one thing that I'm very weak at. But I thought, well, AI is coming out, so how do I show who I am? Get in front of the video. Yeah. I might suck now, but by my 1000th one, it'll be awesome. And then I'll outbeat all my other competition that now sees, shit, I got to do video. Oh. And I'll be like, ha.
Should have started 2 years ago.
Yep. So it's starting something now, getting ahead of it.
Yeah.
Way ahead of it so that if you suck, who cares? Because you're going to be better than everyone else. And then I'll outbeat my competition in 2 years.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. Your competition is using it.
So everybody is using it.
Just remember that.
In one form or another, we've all used it. And the thing is, again, evolution, because I just mentioned about the way people are using platforms.
Right.
AI is the same context. It's just a tool. There are things, obviously, even Meta in itself has integrated AI systems. They're coming out with their own. That is all happening. They've already integrated into Instagram AI stickers. That's new last week. You can create your own stickers. God, don't waste time on that. Nobody cares about your fucking bunny with the flowers. Like nobody cares.
Please don't.
Stop doing the stickers. Like nobody cares. Just find one that's already there. So there's things but again, all of those little things and nuances are distractions to lure you in and get you used to using those type of systems because they want you addicted to it. So social media is an addiction.
Yes.
It's bottom line. That's what it is. And it's how you control that. And AI does make things easier. And I do think for ideas and inspiration, it's great. I use it to generate quick content ideas. I never use them verbatim. So one of the tricks is because Meta has put in AI software to detect AI being used in the platforms for copy. So it's a whole circle. They're all just battling each other online. And the Skynet will become aware at some point. But it's just kind of like everybody's in there fighting with these AI programs. You have to take the content out of the programs. You have to edit it yourself and you have to put it back in with your words and your keywords. Yeah. Otherwise, it will detect that you are just using content that's not yours. And technically it is yours, but it's not your speak. So I always use it as inspiration. Yeah. I ask for things to solve things quickly, like write me a quick layout of a course on this topic with 3 lessons and how we should phrase the thing. And then it does it. And then I'll put in some more keywords and I'll say, now write me an email to sell this. And it'll write it. And then I'll say, okay, give me 10 Instagram posts that would speak to a customer who needs this, this, and this. And it'll write it. I'll take that information, put it into a Word document, and I will pick out the things that stand out to me and I'll put in our keywords or things. So it's more, you have to learn to use it as a tool. Yeah. So, I mean, we've all, no one here has ever, ideas. I mean, you use a calculator, right?
Yeah. Well, I did.
I mean, when we needed it, you would use the calculator.
Of course.
Now you can use, Siri and say, add this, this, and this, and it does it, right?
Right.
That's evolution. So it's the same thing with that. So as long as you treat it as it's making your life easier and not taking your business away from you, then you can create more content and you can have more time. I know there's integrations now where it can literally respond to all of your CRM actions. There's different AI programs for that. There's a lot out there. And it's a new market, so it's heavily misunderstood. And you have to go through the process. So I think if you're going to learn it. Kids in school are using it. And they're actually, in my daughter's school, they're teaching them how to use it for their homework.
Wow.
Because they're going to.
Yeah.
They're going to use it to write papers. No one's like, we're all lazy. We want to get shit done faster. They're going to use it. So how can we teach them to use it the right way? Yeah. And that's all it is. You just have to take it and, there's bad things, like there's stuff everywhere that can corrupt what you're doing. Yep. But if you use it the right way, it's a tool for good, not a tool for evil. And people really honestly, like once they get a hold of it, it is easy. Like I love going in there for ChatGPT and just putting in some stuff and seeing what it says, or for taglines. Like I need to name something. Here's all the keywords. Give me some names, and it gives me a direction. Right. And then I take that direction and run with it. But it cuts out all this time of me sitting here saying, okay, I need an idea. I need an idea. It's you tapping your pen on the table. It takes that out of the equation, makes you a more productive entrepreneur, and it makes you more efficient. Right. So why would you not want that? So no reason. Embrace it, but start small. Start with free stuff. Don't pay for it. Yeah. There's free everywhere. And just know, it's good. It's not going away. Instagram never went away. Everybody's like, oh, it's dead. And they've said Instagram's going to die like 3 times. It's no more photos, no more this. None of that has been happening because we're addicted to it. Constantly evolve. Yeah, and it's evolving, and they're doing a lot for it. So I think, just be smart about it. Yeah. That's pretty much it.
Love it.
Yeah.
Well, I could go on for 42 more hours, but I don't think that's the best use of our time. Oh, man. Thank you guys so much. You're How amazing. Do people find you? I'm going to put it all in the show notes, but just tell them anyway.
Reframe your brand.
Yeah, baby.
www.reframeyourbrand.com.
Have you ever done commercials before?
No, never been on.
They never roped you in to be a spokesperson for.
No, I've done that.
I was what? How have you not?
I've done a lot of auto dealerships, a lot of companies, a lot of random shit. Yeah, yeah. But the newscaster voice always people laugh about it. But
so awesome. You want to do the closing of the show?
I can. Do you want me to do the close of the show?
Definitely.
All right. How do you want me to do the close of your show?
I was going to say, thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Just remember, you can create any life that you want one day at a time.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And know that you can create anything you want one day at a time. No, that was really cheesy.
You guys are awesome.
But yeah, no, we're easy to find. Trust me. We're easy.
Yeah.
Not in that way, but we're easy.
Awesome.
Thanks, Karen.
Thank you.
Karen.
Thank you, everybody. God bless you.